Are you one of the millions of Americans that are currently living paycheck to paycheck? If so, I'm so glad you're here because I'm going to show you a few things that will absolutely change your life in the next few minutes. So, here's your paycheck to paycheck statistics. 66.2% of Americans report struggling between paydays. Okay? Look at the breakdown by generation. Baby boomers, 54% are living paycheck to paycheck. Up to millennials, which is my generation, which is almost 75% of millennials live paycheck to paycheck. Okay? This is crazy. People are living with so much stress. How terrible is it to not know what's going to happen if the next paycheck doesn't come in? What else? Is this limited to just lower income people? It is not. Okay? It's crazy. 48% of people earning $100,000 or more are living paycheck to paycheck, and 36% earning $200,000 or more are living paycheck to paycheck. Wow, people making hundreds of thousands of dollars still live paycheck to paycheck. What is going on? Well, it's called lifestyle creep. The more money you make, the more you spend, and you're like, oh, I'm making this much more, I can spend that much more, and you still live paycheck to paycheck, okay? What I'm about to show you is a tool you can use, and within just a few minutes, you can have a budget that prevents you or keeps you from living this lifestyle that you've been living, okay? And maybe this isn't you, and you can see other strategies that will help you. Even when we're not living paycheck to paycheck, budgeting can help. So let's look at this projection tool. And like I said, I could create a budget for you individually within 30 seconds, okay? And the first things first is download this projection tool in the notes to the description, okay? It's a free projection tool I'm giving to you because I see the crisis we have in America, okay? It's crazy. So let's first look at, I'm just going to do a random projection. Let's assume you're a 40-year-old, and today's date, October 10th, and you file as married filing jointly because it gives you a tax projection as well, and you have 2 dependent children. And let's say you're making $72,000 and spouse no income at this point. So that's kind of our baseline scenario. And whenever we do this baseline in this tool, we copy it over, and you can see I've already copied it, but copy it and then paste values so we can see our tax savings, etc. But we're concentrating on the budget, okay? So we put in our information in 30 seconds. Look what I've created for you. A personalized budget just for you, okay? What is on this page? It looks like a lot, but the first thing is you need to select the type of family you are. So married with no kids, single, etc. In this scenario, I'm doing a married individual with 2 kids that are under 6, okay? So they qualify for child tax credit, etc. This is the average American according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. So we have governmental data here that's showing this is what the average American makes and spends, okay? It's almost $12,000 a month, okay? So $144,000 we're looking at for income. And guess what? Remember that statistic we were looking at that about half, over 100,000 are living paycheck to paycheck? The average, $481 in checking at the end of the year. That's paycheck to paycheck right there, okay? They're not very little savings, but they are funding their 401k some, which is good, okay? So now here's your budget, and this is program just for you. $72,000 income shows how much tax you're paying when you have 2 kids, okay? And then here's your expenses. And what I've done is taken the average American based on your household status and adjusted the expenses to match so you have a zero-based budget, meaning every dollar that's coming in is assigned to go somewhere, okay? I'm paying tax with that dollar. I'm paying entertainment, housing, food, okay? So you zero out at the end of the month. What's the benefit to a zero-based budget? At least you're not going into more debt, okay? What's the detriment to a zero-based budget? You're still living paycheck to paycheck, right? So we want to get out of that, but just from the get-go, here's a budget just for you. I have every expense, and obviously your expenses are going to differ, okay? And I'll let you adjust them, and I'll show you how to adjust them. I'm going to show you also a few things that I've built into this budget that I just feel are important things for everyday Americans to do. First one, you can see this first category, charitable tithing. I put that as 10%, and this is obviously from the Bible, paid tithing of 10%, but even if you're not a religious person, let's give money to people who need it. And the more charitable you can be early on, you're going to live with that your whole life, and you're going to be much more blessed in all aspects of your life by looking out for others and not just yourself. A lot of times we get this backwards and we say we look out for ourselves, all of our expenses, and then, oh yeah, we'll give some to charity. Switch that, okay? That's what I recommend, okay? You could come in here and say, yeah, I'm not doing that. Zero. This is yours to work with, okay? I'm giving you a budget, a zero-based, and you're going to adjust it. You could adjust it within a few minutes to your budget, okay? So here's your other expenses. Housing on a $72,000 salary, average American, you're going to have to hit around 1,300 with all of the other expenses. Look at all of these expenses, okay, and you're going to update it to your own. A big one in here is I have debt. A lot of you have a lot of debt, okay? Credit card debt skyrocketing. Do you know that you're paying like up to 30% interest on those cards? It's crazy, the interest rates. We preach about getting compound interest. If you have credit card debt, you're paying compound interest. It's incredible how much interest you're paying on those, okay? Student loans. This is monthly payments, and then vehicle purchases. That's what I put in. If you watch my video on the $1 million vehicle, okay, if you're paying $1,000 a month for vehicles, it's going to even put you further in the hole, okay? Negative 747. To even get to zero, you need to go adjust other expenses, okay? So, but you're only changing these purple boxes. Those are the ones that will let you adjust the budget, okay? But that is kind of what I'd recommend. And you can see I've recommended putting 20% towards debt. It's kind of like the Dave Ramsey style. Get an emergency fund and then pay off your debt as fast as you can. It doesn't feel good to be paying interest to someone else. You want to be earning interest, okay? So I'm like, this budget is built in to pay 20% towards your debt, okay? Get that paid as fast as you can, and you can see the mortgage is not included. That one's included up here. 20% towards your consumer debt until it's gone. You want that debt gone. Look how much money you save per month if we zero all of those out. $623 a month. You put that in an investment account, you'll have tons of money with that, okay? So I want you to update those according to your information, but just within a few minutes, updating your expenses, you'll have a budget, okay? And that's one of the most crucial things that Americans a lot of times miss. They don't live on a budget. You need to know what income's coming in, okay? What expenses you have, because if you don't know that, you're just going to keep racking it up on a credit card and just get further in debt. It's time to change right now, today, in 5 minutes. If you download this, you could have your personalized budget literally in 5 minutes. And what that does is it changes your mindset. Now you're saying, oh my gosh, personal services, $215. That's all I can spend on personal services, okay? And then you're tracking that. Once you start tracking these things, you'll get excited about it. You'll say, wow, I can save here, here, here. I'll show you, right now we're zero-based. Let's build in some savings now, because you don't want to be paycheck to paycheck. Let's just say you started with 1,000. So go back to the instructions and input page and say, okay, here, how much would you like to save in the following accounts? I don't have an emergency fund, so let's just do the Dave Ramsey style and save $1,000. The budget automatically updates for you, okay? So that original budget we had, if I want to save $1,000, that means I can spend a little less on rent, spend a little less on these other things, right? And you can see $1,000 for a year is only $83 a month, okay? Maybe you want to get there sooner, so you could put a higher number. Maybe you want to save $5,000 this year, whatever it is. You can just change those few numbers, and it's built in here for you, okay? The other thing is, so now you're saving 1.6%, and you get an emergency fund of $1,000. But come in here and say, okay, look, I'm going to update my expenses. Like, I don't smoke, so I can take that out, okay? Miscellaneous, and just update entertainment. I'm going to cut back this month. And what do a lot of finance people recommend? When you're starting a budget, when you're trying to get your life in order, why don't you take a month and do an absolutely bare bones spending where you spend nothing except for the necessities. You get groceries, you don't do fast food, entertainment. Wow, if you zero out so many of these, you'd be amazed at how much money you could get that $1,000 in a month. And all of a sudden you're turning things around. You're paying off your debt quickly, okay? Dave Ramsey style. I love that aspect of just get out of that debt quick, because then it's amazing how fast you can grow your money. And you want to get it in. Compound interest, you need to get it in as soon as you can. So update your expenses, okay? Do personal services. I'm going to do 100, okay? Food away from home. Groceries, you know what? With groceries are a little more expensive, so I'm going a little higher on groceries, okay? 300 a month. But food away from home, I'm going to cut to 100, okay? Adjust your expenses, and here's your budget. And look, I'm going to have $214 a month so far, okay? And which is 4.1%. I'm getting almost halfway to 10% of my income where I've saved, and that was just cutting expenses, okay? Next thing I want you to do is, could I cut a little more and use some of the tax efficient accounts that Professor Lee's been telling me about in his other videos? That HSA, how that's the most tax efficient retirement account there is, or the 401k match, okay? Let's just try out a couple of them here. HSA, you know that's my favorite, right? A lot of employers will match. The average is $762. Let's say you have an HSA account and your employer matches $762. And down here, taxpayer, you put in $762. You just got the amount that they're putting in. How does that change your budget? Again, well, first of all, it saves you almost $200 in tax because you get a tax deduction for that contribution. And how much have you saved? For the year, you saved $1,500, but you ended up with $2,500 because you got that employer match and you got the tax savings, okay? You got a 62% return on your investment. Think of how fast you can start growing your savings. Look at what's our savings at now. 6.1% with just $762 for the year, right? How much was that? 762 divided by 12. 63 bucks a month. If you add another 63 bucks a month, we're getting close to that 10% goal. What's my other favorite? What if you're like, oh, I can save a little more. I'm going to get 401k match, okay? Let's just say you get up here we have a 5% 401k match. So if I did 5% there, and so when we talk about the contribution 401k, and that family plan, I needed to change that one, but let's say we just did the match, so we're going to do 72,000, and we're just going to get part of the match because we're just starting out. You want to try to get that full 5%, but let's say right now I can do 2% because I'm like getting used to this. 1440, what is that for each month? Divided by 12. So if you can save $120 a month, guess what? Your employer's going to give you another $120 because you're getting the match. So look, you save $460 in tax from doing those two strategies. You've only decreased your cash flows by $2,700. Okay, so you've saved $2,700 for the year. Can you save $228 a month? I bet you can get there. If you do that and use these strategies I just showed you, you'll end up with $5,400 instead of $2,700. Almost 100% return on your investment. What does that do to your sprint to 100K? Getting to 100K as fast as you can. If you're starting at 40, within 12 years you already have 100 grand. The median retiree doesn't have that, okay? And then you'd hit $1 million at 80. That's if you're starting at 40. Let's just change it for a second. What if you're younger? What if you're starting at 25 or 27, okay? How does that change? All of a sudden you're a millionaire at what age? At 67, okay? So, and that's just saving $2,700 a year, $228 a month. You guys can do this, okay? And then what does that look like at your budget? Oh, I hit that 10%, my goal of saving 10% of my income. And really, I only saved $2,700. $2,700 divided by 72,000. So I saved, and that's in dollars, but I saved 4% of my income, and I have 10% of it in savings. Understanding these tax strategies, you can do these things. Do them. The first step, like I showed you, budget. You got to control the expenses, okay? Look where you can cut. You got to cut back. You got to pay off that debt, because once you pay off that debt, you're going to be saving more than $2,700 a year, excuse me. And I've showed you could get 100K in 3 years on a salary of 72,000. Okay, I have a video on that. Go watch that video. I'll include it in the link. And yeah, I know each of you can be millionaires. Even, no matter what age you are, you can get there. It's about figuring these things out. I know inflation's tough and all these other things, but you're tougher. So get out there, set this budget. Please, in the comments, let me know if you have other strategies that you're using that have worked to help other people, okay? Some of you have been successful with this. What's helped you succeed? Please comment and let us know what's helped you. Or if you found this valuable, what have you liked about it, okay? The other thing is, please, if this is valuable to you, please like the video. That helps me to spread it more. And subscribe, because then I can spread it to more people. Share it with those that could use this information, because there are millions of them out there. Okay, have a good one, guys, and we'll talk soon.